What's up, everyone? All right, we're going to jump right into it. We've got a lot to cover here today. It's Friday. It's the last day of February. We are putting the month into the history books. Next week, we got a brand new month in front of us. It's March. And I'm excited because you know what? February ended up being a fantastic month. It was actually better for me than January, which by itself was a really great month. And you can see my P&L here in the top corner. I'm up $23,934.65 to finish the day. That's a nice way to finish the month of February. And you know what? I'm green on the 4 out of 4 stocks I traded, but it was not the smoothest day ever. You can see NVVE here, a little pop and rejection at the open. I made money on it, but I had to be careful not to overstay my welcome. Today was not a day to overtrade. Now, I know you guys are thinking, oh, Ross, all right, so well, no surprise you have a green day because you didn't wear red, dummy. Well, slow down just 1 second. Look at this. I'm wearing red. So I got a little tip from one of you guys in the comments. It said, Ross, you can counteract the negativity of the red by wearing a black leather jacket. And I said, my God, is that true? He said, yes, it's science. I said, well, aren't people going to call me a leather daddy? He said, no, no one's going to say that. So I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and wear a black leather jacket. And look at me. I'm wearing red and I'm sitting in the green. See, I never thought I would see the day this would happen, but here we are. So, you know, my relationship with the color red has been really strained over the years, but I'm trying to break away from that. And today was certainly a good step in the right direction. Now, I'm going to be honest. Monday, I'm wearing green. I can't take the risk. It's the beginning of a new month. It's March. I got to get the month off to a good start. So we're not taking any risks on Monday. Not in this market. It's just not worth it. But maybe mid-March, maybe I'll experiment with a little bit of red, bringing it back in. So here we are this morning. I sit down, 6:45. I pull up my scanners, and what do I see? A bunch of penny stocks. Low-price penny stocks on the scans, and I'm thinking, this is not going to work for me. I can't make money trading these stocks unless I buy, 75,000, 100,000 shares. But with the broker that I use, I'm going to pay a commission, and it's based on all the shares I trade. There's a per share fee that you pay to the exchanges with these direct access brokers. So I said, no, I can't trade those. So I sat here basically sitting tight, 7 a.m., top of the hour, and I took 0 trades. Then all of a sudden we have BTAI that pops up on the scans. And I think BTAI, what's the news catalyst? They regained compliance with NASDAQ. So what? That's like saying you're off parole. I mean, this doesn't feel like a really significant headline, but anyways, the stock squeezes up. So it pops up here to $2.30. It drops back down to 2. And I said, I really don't know if it's going to work. But here's the thing. The reason they've regained compliance is because they just did this reverse split earlier in the month. So the reverse split got their stock price back above $1. And so now they're back in compliance based on the minimum price of $1 a share. So, all right, they're back in compliance. The stock pops up, and this is the way I traded it. It first pops up here at, what was this, like 7 a.m. when the news came out? Pops up, and I'm like, no, I don't think so. Then it comes back up again, pops up, pulls back, pops up right here, and that's where I said, well, you know what, at this point, if it's holding this previous level, this high right here, I'm a buyer. So let me give you a little pop quiz. This is a 10-second chart. We've got a stock that popped up at 7 a.m. on breaking news. Oh, hold on. Let me back this up so it's clean. All right, so let me jump out of this, jump back in. All right, pop quiz. We got a stock that popped up at 7 a.m. on breaking news. Now, I didn't think the news was very good, but the stock was up. That's fine. It pulls back a little bit, and then at about 7:30, it curls back up for a second attempt at the highs. So here it comes back up, basically double topping with the previous high. It dips down, and what do? Is this a place to buy? The way I looked at it is, even though I don't think the news is that strong, clearly other traders like it. I'm buying this first pullback right here, and this is what we got. A pop up to 240, a pop up to 255, and a squeeze just a little bit higher up to 260. That is not bad. That's more than 25% return in about 2 minutes on BTAI. Okay, so that's a nice little pop quiz. All right, so it pulls back, actually goes up a little bit higher. I only made $1,500 on it. I didn't swing for the fences. I didn't take a huge position, but I got myself on the leaderboard with $1,500, and that was at 7:30. So that was my first trade of the day. So then after that, it's 7:30. I'm sitting tight, kind of waiting. No trades at 8 a.m., top of the hour, and then we come down to 8:30. So we're coming to 8:30, and I'm kind of keeping myself busy. I'm working on some videos that I'm editing that I'm going to upload soon. I've got some more broker platform demos that I've been doing. By the way, if you guys have been enjoying those, let me know if there's another broker you want me to do a review of. And so I was kind of like looking over at some other things, and then all of a sudden, ding, 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 I hear the scanner. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I didn't hear the scanner. I looked over at the scanner, and I noticed ZOOZ was in the second position right here, or the third position down, just under the second place, and it was up 40%, ZOOZ. And I just saw 40%, and I saw this green arrow. So what the green arrow tells me is that the stock has just moved up the scanner. So I knew we were coming to the bottom of the hour. So all of a sudden I saw ZOOZ on the scanner with this green arrow, and I was like, whoa, where did this come from? It's up 40%. So I pull up the chart, and let me just walk you through this. We're going to go on a 10-second chart. I'm going to show you, sort of break this down for you, what I saw. So this one, and this also kind of plays into how I ended up trading NVVE. So yesterday, this stock closed at $1.50, something like that. So all of a sudden I look over and it's popping up right here from $2 up to $2.30 right there. And that's what put it up 50% on the day. So I look over, I see that. I then type in my level 2 window. So I pull it up on my level 2 window right here, ZOOZ. That's kind of funny looking. It's because it's scaling across 2 monitors. Let me just close this and I'll drag it up here. So, yeah, well now so I have a 4K monitor, and then I also have regular 1080 monitors. And for some reason, when you drag stuff across the monitor, sometimes it gets a little skewed. Anyways, that's what it looks like. So ZOOZ. All right, so I see it hit the scanner, I pull it up, and I don't even have time to enter my order in the entry window. I just press Shift 1. And so I pressed Shift 1, and I filled a starter of 1,000 shares at $2.38. And there was a seller at $2.38, so this was right here where I got in, $2.38. And then suddenly it breaks $2.38 and goes up to $2.50. And all of a sudden it's at $2.50. It's then at $3.40, and I doubled my position right there at $3.40. I was like, holy smokes, a full $1 a share on that candle. So I doubled my position right there, and it pops up to a high of $3.80. Then it pulls back right here. And at this point, because I got in way down here with my starter, even though I added up here, my average is about $3. So it pulls back for a second. And right here, I actually added right there. Right there, I added at $3.55. And I was looking for the break through $3.80. And then all of a sudden it drops. And so I ended up stopping out of my full position and taking profit. And it was it was a pretty good trade. I was shocked, in fact. It then dips down to 3. I buy the dip off of 3. It bounces back up to about 3.15. So I'm like, okay, interesting. It then drops down again. And I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to do another dip trade on this. It's really not holding up very well. And then it just pulls back. It does a full round trip. And this was really interesting because what I realized was that I traded it as soon as it popped up on the scanner right here. I jumped in it essentially. And I thought that it had news. I thought it had news because we were very close to the bottom of the hour. But in fact, there was no headline. There was no news. So why was this stock suddenly up 40%? Right? I jumped in it right here. It was already up 40, 50%. And I don't know the answer to that question. Sometimes we see this happen where a stock will pop up, it'll hit the scanner. We don't know if it's a short covering. We don't know if it's some investor out there that's just buying a position, or if it's an algorithm, or what it is. But all of a sudden the stock's on the scanner, it's moving. And in this type of market where we're seeing a lot of volatility, traders learn to jump first and ask questions later. And so I jumped in and I was trying to figure out, what's the news? Does anyone have the news? I didn't see it, but at that point, the stock was up $1 a share. So I kept trading it up here. I still don't see the news, but I'm thinking, well, there's got to be something. Why is it up this much? And then all of a sudden it starts to pull back. So like I get a couple dip trades, but then it's just going lower. And so I ended up making $10,000 on ZOOZ. But then it retraces the whole move. It comes all the way back down here to $1.95. So I'm like, that was wild. So then NVVE pops up. A moment later, NVVE pops up at 8:30. And what do? I'm like, I don't know. Can I trust it? after what we just saw on ZOOZ, NVVE does the same thing. Guess what? I didn't trade it. I didn't buy it because I was nervous. So I missed the entire move from 280 up to 440. Son of a gun. So this one ends up working. Now this one had news, but I just still wasn't even sure if it was going to work because of what we had just seen. So this is how I traded NVVE. So NVVE pops up, and now I'm not really sure what to do. So it ends up pushing a little bit higher. I take my first trade on this little pullback here. I get a little pop here, make like $1,000, $1,500. So it pulls back a little bit more. We get a double bottom here. I bought the double bottom off of 350. So we actually had this test a couple times. 350 bounces back up, 350 bounces back up, 350 bounces back up. And I did a couple small dip trades. And then finally, we got this break of 4 right here. We pull back, we squeeze up to 440, and then we drop back down. We go sideways, we squeeze back up, we drop back down. And it kind of pulls back and sort of consolidating. And I switch back over from the 10-second chart to the 1-minute chart. So now this is where I started to get dialed in. And this is where I had a really nice trade right there for the break through this resistance level. So on that trade right there, I was feeling pretty confident. I bought 40,000 shares. 40,000 shares of the stock. So all of a sudden, we get this break right here. These two candles had 2 million shares of volume. There was no issue with liquidity. There was a ton of volume. In fact, I didn't get much slippage on my order. So I added right here as it broke this level, and boom, got an awesome trade right there up to 470. Now at this point, I kind of knew that we were going to have resistance up there, and that's because I had checked the daily chart and I had seen the high of this candle back here, which was at 477. So because of that high, I thought, no, we're probably going to have an issue here. So I didn't add back, and that was it. That was my last trade. And then going into the open, I was watching it, but I just knew the open would be super volatile. You know, we got this dip here from 4, we rip back up to 5, we pull back, we flush down, and I just said, no, you know what? It's the last day of the month, and especially after what I did last Friday, I'm not going to take the risk. And in fact, it's pulled back a bit. So since the opening bell, there hasn't been anything that I really feel like I missed. Yeah, there were a couple of stocks that popped up, but I feel like the good action here was pre-market. And my only regret, I suppose, see, this is the funny thing. I jumped first and asked questions later on ZOOZ. And it was kind of a close call because it ended up reversing. So then on NVVE, I hesitate and I miss the move. So it feels like a little frustrating because this one ended up working well and held up and went higher. So anyways, so I missed that entire move, but I ended up jumping on a little later and making some money on it. So I think I could have been up quite a bit more today, but ZOOZ, I don't know, it threw me off. Just kind of weird. So that made me a little hesitant, and then it cost me some money on NVVE. But if I always look in a colder market, I'm going to be more patient in general. I'm not going to jump as quickly because in a colder market, you're going to get burned. So let me give you kind of a demonstration of how this tends to work. So in a cold market, you'll have something that pops up a little bit, and traders are let's do a cold market. So in a cold market, you'll have a stock that pops up. Actually, you know what? Let's start with the hot market. So hot market, you have stocks that pop up, they pull back, they surge higher as ZOOZ did. But you realize, there's not a good news headline for it. And then shorts come in and they bring it all the way back down. So then the next stock that pops up a little bit more, but long traders are a little nervous because of this, and shorts are a little more aggressive, so it comes back down sooner. And then the next one that pops up, longs don't even trust it, and shorts immediately bring it back down. So essentially what happens is the moves get smaller and smaller and smaller until we get to a point where the stock barely even pops up before coming right back down. However, the shorts, they want stuff to trade. So anything that's popping up, they're selling it to bring it back down. And then you get that one that, goes higher. And longs are not feeling very confident, but shorts are covering. And then it pushes a little higher. And then it goes even higher. And now longs are getting in up here, and you're getting a real short squeeze. And then the next stock that pops up, what happens it pops up even a little bit, and shorts are jumping in, longs are jumping in quick, shorts are nervous, and now you're getting these big moves. And so those are back to back to back to back until you get one that does this nasty reversal. Longs get caught, they get a little more timid. So it made sense on NVVE that I was a little bit more cautious jumping in because of what I had just seen here. So this is kind of the cycle that we see, but in hot streaks and cold streaks and kind of hot markets and cold markets, where long traders, and short sellers sort of oscillate between being dominant and feeling confident and being aggressive, and then saying, oh, I don't know, I'm a little nervous, I'm a little fearful. So these are the cycles that we go through in the market. And right now, we've been in a market where it's been pretty hot. So the result is essentially, as soon as I see something starting to pop up, because we've seen so many of these huge moves, I'm jumping in pretty quick, right? I'm buying that first pullback, or I'm buying, right around a $0.50, a whole dollar. Or if I see a seller and I'm seeing green on the tape, I'm just going to jump in and set my stop just below that level. And so this is the market that we're in right now, where I am, for the most part, jumping first and then asking questions later. And unfortunately, ZOZ sort of threw me off because of that reversal and round trip that it did. I guess we've had a couple, though. We had one on, it was WLGS earlier this week that did something kind of similar, where, now I can't remember if it had news or not, but this one I did not trade. But look at this one. So this one popped up from $6.80 up to $8, dropped all the way down to $5.20, then rips all the way back up to $8.40, and then comes back down. So, I mean, that ripped people both ways. Longs and shorts just got smoked on that. So, we've had a few, but I left this one alone. I wasn't totally sure about it because it's a Chinese stock. I was like, I don't know, because of MLGO last week. So ZOZ, I don't, yes, there was, by the way, news yesterday, but that was yesterday, right? What I saw about this stock is it's a somewhat recent IPO. All-time high is 460. That's not that far away. It's popping up right now, and I'm thinking, it's moving quick. This is what we look for, volatility. So usually what I expect is that my hot streaks will end with getting kind of crushed on a stock like this. And then that's like, okay, this is my cue that the market is shifting. But then NVVE sort of negated that by having, arguably a really strong move. I mean, yes, it's pulled back a bit now, but it's got 52 million shares of volume. A lot of traders, I'm sure, did relatively well on it. So yeah, I think that I'm not super concerned for Monday morning. I'm at this point, coming off of a really strong month here of February. This is my total on the month. That was January, sorry. This is my total on the month of February right here. Right now, $473,000 on the month gross profit. So that doesn't include today's profit. So I'm going to be just under $500,000. I had a goal at the beginning of the month of $20,000 a day. That's my hot market goal. I beat it every day except for 3 days. Last Friday, yesterday, and the first day of the month. Oh, no, actually, there's a couple other days here. This was just slightly below, and this was a bit below. So it was, I guess, 4 or 5 days. But nonetheless, I also had a couple days where I exceeded it, right here and right here. So I'm kind of blown away. I mean, the market right now is really strong. My profit for, I don't know, the last 90 days or whatever. Let's see, last 30 days, we'll just go to November 2024. So let's see, this last stretch here, 1.4 million. Fantastic. Accuracy, 71%. Profit loss ratio, $2,000 winners, $1,000 losers. We're seeing some good momentum, focusing on stocks between 2 and 20. So, I've got a pretty good game plan of what I'm looking for going into March. I'm going to keep focusing on the $20,000 daily goal, try to get another month under my belt of averaging that, make as big of a dent as I can into my 2025 annual goal. And look, if things slow down in May or June going into the summer, I'll have a cushion. So I'll have a little bit of, breathing room to not get too stressed out or bent out of shape that things are going slow. So that's the way I'm approaching it right now. And in the meantime, just pedal to the metal, being aggressive and trying to capitalize as much as I can on this volatility. So that means trading increased frequency with larger share size, and really trading anything that's moving nicely that's within my parameters of price, float, generally sector, the sectors that I prefer, I'm going to be more aggressive on. So that's where I'm at right now. And for those of you guys that want to join me on Monday morning, we've got a 2-week trial. So you can start that 2-week trial today. You can watch some classes over the weekend that are reserved for members that are doing this 2-week trial. So you can kind of get yourself up to speed, start testing out the software, sign your market data agreements, and then come Monday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern, I will be streaming. So I would love to have you guys in the chat room with me, watching over my shoulder, benefiting from my market commentary, all my years of educated intuition, and practicing trading in a safe, simulated environment. That's the right way to start. So let me remind you, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please take it slow, manage your risk, practice in a simulator before putting real money on the line. We've got a simulator we make available to our members here at Warrior Trading. And so I look forward to seeing you guys bright and early on Monday morning. I've got some uploads coming this weekend, so stay tuned for those, and I'll see you guys real soon.